Okay, welcome to the Cedar Rapids Community School District Board of Education meeting. Today is Monday, June 8th. Thank you all for attending. We appreciate it. Before we start, can we have an approval of the agenda, John?
Yes, that the agenda of Monday, June 8th, 2015 Board of Education meeting be approved as set forth, and that each item is considered ready for discussion and/or action.
Second, please. Second. Roll call action.
Was that Alan that seconded that? Okay, thank you.
Director Humbles.
Aye. Director Witt. Aye. Director Westerkamp.
Aye.
Director Anhalt.
Aye.
Director Laverty.
Aye.
President Meisterling.
Aye. Thank you. Next is communications, delegations, and petitions. I do have two requests to address the board. I ask that you, when I call your name, come to the podium. Please state your name and address for the record. And just a reminder, this is a period for you to share your comments with the board. It is not a dialogue period. And you will have 5 minutes to do so. So we'll start with Dutch Coke. Dutch Coke. Is that correct? Thank you.
Thanks, Madam President, and thank you for the opportunity to address the board and the people here assembled. My name is Dutch Koch. I live at 5506 Woodland Avenue in Des Moines, and my Cedar Rapids address is 228 Northland Court Northeast. I am president and one of the owners of Koch Brothers, and for the record, I'd like everybody to understand my family is not oil billionaires. We office on Northland Court Northeast, and we have served the Cedar Rapids Community School District since 1964. 12 of our 65 employees call Cedar Rapids home, and it's one of the neatest markets that we have the privilege of serving. Koch Brothers has served the Cedar Rapids School District in good times and in bad. We absorbed a substantial loss in 2008 when the district's buildings were flooded. We provide copiers, multifunctional printers, under a rental agreement that has no requirement that a specific number of copies be run on any specific machine. And this allows the district the flexibility to move copies from one machine to the other as best suits the district's purposes. The district pays only for the copies that are made under the terms of our rental agreement. And as I understand it, all service issues that have been brought to our attention have been, including those related to operator error, have been addressed. Since we began our relationship with Cedar Rapids Schools, we've provided every piece of equipment, every add-on accessory, and every upgrade that the district asked for on this short-term rental at the district's request. And just as you would expect to pay a higher mortgage payment on a 10-year mortgage than on a 30-year mortgage, a 2-year copier rental is more than a 5-year copier rental. That's the way it is with copiers too. I'm disappointed that Cedar Rapids School District would ask Koch Brothers to invest $211,000 at our cost for a partial fleet replacement 32 months ago, and ask Koch Brothers to invest further another $165,000 at our cost as a partial fleet upgrade 12 months ago, with 12 months remaining on that agreement. And then, as it appears to me, kind of renege on the terms of that agreement to utilize the equipment that we have so provided. And in my opinion, the Marco proposal that is at hand, called BA 15-507, is entirely dependent on the tactic of the Cedar Rapids Community School District taking our equipment offline, moving it into storage, and not using it, effectively reducing their payment to Koch Brothers to zero at Koch Brothers' expense. My opinion, that tactic is also at odds with the district's green policy because it will send many copiers that are not yet worn out, some that are only a year old, to an early landfill. And the purchasing department was gracious enough to let us respond to them with a lease that is publicly bid under the U.S. Communities contract with special volume pricing for public and parochial education in all political subdivisions of the state of Iowa. Cedar Rapids Community Schools District has already registered on that contract and has used it in the past. And we were asked by the purchasing department to provide a like-for-like proposal that they could consider as more comparable to the proposal that Marco had provided. As we looked at our proposal, it would appear to us as though there's in the neighborhood of $200,000 of savings to the district on an annual basis over a 5-year period, about $1 million. And that proposal would also support the paper cut software that the school district has, or the purchasing department and IT have identified as being a cost-saving way for you to direct prints to the proper device.
Excuse me, Mr. Koch, your time is up.
Thanks so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Mark Robinson. Again, Mark, name and address for the record, and you have 5 minutes.
Hello, my name is Mark Robinson. I live at 307 Cobblestone Drive Northwest here in Cedar Rapids. I'm the proud father of 4 Jefferson High School graduates and soon to be 7th grader at Taft Middle School. So I'm here to talk about expanded opportunities and my desire to expanded opportunities. So there's two areas that I'd really like the district to consider it. One is in the area of the PACT program. I think our PACT program is far too narrow. We identify, quote unquote, the top 5%. Truth is, in one example that my daughter participated in, only 2% of the population of Taft Middle School is able to even take the test to take algebra in 7th grade. Okay, so that's 2%, and if those don't pass, it could be 0. So we have to have 95% on the algebra readiness test. My daughter got 90%, and it was kind of heartbreaking to tell her that wasn't good enough. So I'd really like to see the district, move the PAC program from a 5% program to a 20% program. The other area that I have some concern about is as my older kids went through school, the best that we did in math and science was Algebra 1 in 8th grade and biology in 9th grade. And with the new requirements for science and stuff like that, we're back into the same exact situation. So it makes high school scheduling very difficult. Having had kids that gone through that and wanted to participate in other activities, it makes it very difficult. So my concern is that we're not moving the dial on math and science. And I'd like to share just a quick story about my daughter in 5th grade. She's kind of patient like me, and we kind of just think optimistic and things are going to turn around. Well, about 2/3 of the way through the school year, she came to me and said, "I hate math and science." Okay, now this is my daughter who's wanted to be a marine biologist since she was 2 and could say those words. But she followed up her sentence and said, "I don't hate the subject. I hate what happens in class." And what she related to me was this. The teacher gets up at the front of the class period, starts talking about a subject. First 5 minutes, I understand it. I'm ready to move on. At the end of the class period, we're still talking about it. And then she said, 3 weeks later, we're still talking about it. So that kind of moved me into action, and I've had some conversations with some of the district staff. But what I'd really like the district to consider is expanded opportunities to elementary school. Take those high performing, say 20% of 5th graders and send them to the middle schools in the morning. They could go there and do math and science the first 2 periods of the day and still get back to their elementary classes and not be behind. And then in 6th grade, you could do the 7th, 8th grade curriculum, and then in 7th grade, you could actually do Algebra 1 and Earth Science. And, you know, this proposal that I'm talking about still only moves us 1 year closer. So instead of being 2 to 3 years behind the rest of the world, you know, we're 1 to 2 years still behind, you know. But I think it's a challenge that, you know, that we need to meet if we're going to really make a difference in the areas of math and science. So thank you for letting me talk to you today.
Thank you, Mark. We appreciate your comments. Next is Superintendent Report.
Thank you, President Meisterling. Tonight, we're joined by a group of students who have participated in the Spanish language class at Johnson Elementary. They're joined by their teacher, and I invite Val Dolezal to introduce all of the guests.
Yes, it's my pleasure to introduce Crystal Saxton, and Crystal is one of our FLUS teachers currently at Johnson, and she has with us tonight 3 students from Johnson Elementary. Crystal has always opened up her classroom to let other community members see, and I'm glad she's sharing this with us tonight. So Crystal, I'll let you introduce our students.
Thank you. I'm actually going to let them introduce themselves in Spanish to you, and they're going to speak to you, and then I'll help tell you what they said afterwards.
¿Cómo te llamas? Me llamo Ella. ¿Cómo te llamas?
Me llamo Hunter. ¿Cómo te llamas?
Me llamo Brooklyn. ¿De dónde eres? Soy de los Estados Unidos. ¿De dónde eres?
Soy de los Estados Unidos. Soy, los Estados... ¿De dónde eres?
Soy de los Estados Unidos. ¿Dónde vives? Vivo en Cedar Rapids. ¿De dónde vives?
Vivo en Cedar Rapids, Iowa. ¿Dónde vives?
Vivo en Cedar Rapids, Iowa. ¿Cuántos años tienes? Tengo 9 años. ¿Cuántos años tienes?
Tengo 10 años. ¿Cuántos años tienes?
Tengo 10 años. I told you my name and where I'm from. We also told you where we live and how old we are. I'm going into 5th grade. I'm going into 5th grade.
I'm going into 5th grade.
So my students here at Johnson are all going into 5th grade. They have been in the Spanish program since they were in 1st grade, and they are, as you can tell, really starting to get the hang of the language skills coming ahead of them. And I want to ask them, why do you like Spanish at Johnson? What makes it so special?
I really like Spanish at Johnson because if you want to have a second language already prepared in for like middle school or high school, you can have Spanish like earlier, and I've been in Spanish for 7 years. I like Spanish at Johnson because my one of my grandpas that live in Chicago speaks Spanish, and if I learned Spanish, I would be able to talk to him more.
I like Spanish because we get to learn about different countries and what language they speak, and when we need help, Miss Senora Saxton is there to help us.
What was the best thing we learned about all year?
I like that we learned about España.
What is that?
Spain. I like that we learned our colors.
I like that we learned about our clothes.
What do you think we'll learn about next year in 5th grade Spanish?
numbers higher than 400.
How to form sentences. How to form paragraphs.
Adios, amigos, adios. Adios, amigos, adios. Adios, amigos, adios, amigos, adios, amigos, adios. Gracias.
I think I mentioned to the board some months ago, I had an opportunity to visit Crystal's class, and I wanted to stay in it all day long. It was so fun, and the kids just respond very well, and they love Spanish. So thank you, Dr. Dave, for bringing Spanish to our school district.
It's exciting. Thank you. You know, as adults, sometimes we're taken back by the settings that we find ourselves in. Think about yourself as an elementary student coming here with the dais,
Yeah.
the elevation, the audience. So we really appreciate the students that can come and join us. Next item, the district now has 10 Blue Zone schools. We have met our goal for community certification in the school sector of the Blue Zone program. Congratulations to the most recently designated Blue Zone community schools at Truman, Johnson, Garfield, Erskine, Cleveland, and Hiawatha. It's a lot of work, and we appreciate everybody stepping forward in this community endeavor. Thank you to Alliant Energy Foundation, the philanthropic arm of Alliant Energy, for awarding Cedar Rapids Community School Foundation with a $7,500 grant towards engineering in the elementary curriculum. Our fifth round of innovative learning projects have been announced, including in these most recent awards. 21 proposals have now been awarded. As you know, staff members have the opportunity to request technology-related resources for projects that support creative learning environments. Funding is from the technology silo dollars. You can find details about the most recent announced projects in the news section of the district website. We want to remind all families that free healthy summer meals are available for children Monday through Friday during the summer. A complete list of locations and times can be found on the district website. This is a great project. The East Central United Way has been a big supporter of the summer meals program, and I want to encourage everyone who wants to take advantage, please come to the sites and get on our website, and you can find the times and hours and locations.
Great, thank you. Next is consent agenda. I ask at this time if anyone wants to pull something for separate consideration. Keith?
BA 15507.
Okay. No, I'm not going to pull this item, but I'd like to have a conversation about BA 15495, which is the agreement with the Cedar Rapids School District and Junior Achievement of Eastern Iowa. And the reason I want to talk about it is I think every year public funding is going to become more and more difficult for public education. And we have to really scrutinize every year the agreements that we enter into. Instead of just automatically saying, yep, we're going to continue to do that. And I know JA is one of those that we do. And I guess I want to look for the value that's provided. Are we measuring student access, student data? What does it bring to our classroom? And Carla, you don't have to answer this tonight, but I want that out there at a future point in time. And actually, a lot of these, we need to really scrutinize what we're bringing and what we're paying for. I know we're paying a lot for JA, so I want to make sure there's a value add there.
So let me be clear, you'd like to pull that and bring it back in 2 weeks after you receive some more information?
Yeah, let's do that. Okay? Is that suitable with the rest of the board? Okay. So Keith, do you want to?
I'd just like to hear a response from the administration because I've been getting a lot of emails and communication and just,
See?
No microphones, there we go.
you can raise the podium.
I'm going to allow Tom Day, our manager of purchasing, to respond to some of the questions around the Koch brothers' concerns raised and the Marco bid.
Questions?
Comments? I think he probably just wants an overview of the decision process. Is that
Okay.
true, Keith?
Yes.
Okay.
A while back, district is in budget constraints. Steve Graham came and asked all business service managers to find budget savings. And I know that Dutch over there expressed a concern about canceling a business relationship, but it's not in the general practice of the district. I don't like to do that at all. The district doesn't like to do that at all. I'm sorry about that. But this is about an $85,000 a year savings, proposed savings. Last month, you approved a buyout of a longstanding contract with another partner in our print shop. That gained us a savings of $44,000 a year. So with Koch brothers, we had a special meeting on May 29th. We talked about our existing concerns with service and the other issues. And we agreed to offer them an opportunity to provide savings to the district on an apples-to-apples, as Dutch said this earlier on. When they submitted their proposal on June 2nd, we determined that the proposal was non-responsive. It did not include any software that we, as a district, specifically asked for in a meeting on May 29th. And therefore, the proposal was not apples to apples. When he talks about a $200,000 difference, that's about the cost of the software.
Thank you, Tom. We appreciate
I
that.
have another question.
Okay.
Sure.
Marco, is this part of a larger organization and everything that we're doing this through contracts or?
No, it's not. Well, Marco approached us with the print shop, and they brought us ideas to take this a step further with our multifunction printers. And what we're trying to accomplish is to move volume from the buildings to ease their building budgets to the print shop where the cost per copy is much cheaper. With the software provided by Marco, we're able to do that. So the whole thing is trying to get the building budgets under control with the cost per copy to help them out.
Other questions?
If there's
Keith?
other questions, otherwise I.
That answered yours.
Okay?
Like we have a brochure that I believe is here from the Torch.
Okay.
Do we print those or those come to the building? Is that an example of something's there? And are we trying to control, color printing, et cetera?
We're trying to control all costs, color printing also. Those Torch programs are printed by our print shop at a cheaper rate. What we can do is bring volume from the buildings. Here's a for instance. On our audit, when we walked through, there was a secretary at Jefferson making report cards on a copier that was 3 cents more per click than the copier right next to it, just because it was busy. And we needed a way to cut those costs. If that secretary would have waited a half hour, she could have saved a whole lot of money on that one. So those are the kind of issues we're trying to address. Those are the kind of issues that we're trying to get a hold of in this print managed system. Technology is locked into this with the paper cut. We can identify users out there and abusers of this also. So I think in the long run, what it'll do is it'll cut our cost of paper which has gone up substantially. The use has gone up probably in the last 3 years, about a semi-and-a-half load. So we're trying to get that under control, and that'll help with our green product initiative, our green team initiatives. So,
Okay, John?
yeah.
So I get this part about the saving money. I see it
Sure.
at the university, I see it in large businesses, and, you know, the individualized small print jobs could just cost a lot more, so I see that. But the bottom line with this is the contract during the bidding process, it wasn't the same specs as what the other Marco bid came in at, which is what you had requested, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
We authorized Koch brothers to be able to provide a quote for us using a publicly bid RFP. That's the same thing that Marco went off of, a publicly bid RFP. So therefore, we wanted it to be apples and apples. Instead of just Koch brothers coming back with their own proposal, it had to be off a publicly bid RFP. That was incomplete. It didn't include the items that we asked for, and it didn't include the items that Marco has priced into their cost per copy.
I think the relevant fact from the superintendent's point of view is the view from 30,000 feet is we are on the search for savings and efficiencies. Mr. Graham has asked his managers to go look at their programs and try to identify some level of efficiencies. This is one of the things that have surfaced. I think we all appreciate long-term relationships. In the political environment that we're in right now, it is going to be increasingly difficult for us to continue to do business as usual year after year without looking for these kinds of savings. So it is an unfortunate part of underfunding, chronically underfunding schools for the last 5 years that we're sitting here today.
That actually goes hand in hand with my comment about reviewing these ongoing annual contracts and agreements. We have to find value, and if we can't find value, we simply have to make different decisions. Gary?
It kind of goes along with Dr. Benson, what he just said. We saw a request, or we heard a request earlier in the meeting, the open comments, about expanding some programs that would benefit students. And with our present funding levels and what's we're facing from the state, it's pretty hard to, near impossible to look at expansion, which we know is good for students because of financial restraints. And I appreciate Steve going out and looking at, and Tom looking at ways that we'd save money. And the other is, I think, you know, bids are bids, and you just don't get do-overs. You know, when asked to submit a bid, and then we have to react to those bids, which I think, Tom, you did. So it seems that we followed the process. Again, we hate to, they've been a long-standing Koch brothers supporting the district. Would hope that we could continue at some point. We maintain that relationship. We appreciate that, but best interest, I think we move forward.
Keith, did you want to pull that for a separate vote? Leave it in consent.
Go ahead and leave the consent.
Okay.
My only confusion was the district would be able to utilize the Iowa Regents contract?
That's correct.
So this is a part of a, that's where that question was, that it is a much larger
Oh, yes, it is.
package. I knew, I read that. And so we're doing it with University of Iowa, Northern Iowa, and so on. But I hope also as we do this, that we look at brochures and so on that we're copying and doing, do they really need to be color? Because I know in my office, 9 times more than black and white.
With the paper cut software, technology has it defaulting to black and white.
Yeah.
And so for them to have color, they have to go in and manually change it themselves.
You know, Keith, I know that's that's been something you've asked about year after year, the torch and the different student newsletters being in color. Remember, a lot of those organizations do receive revenue from the ads, so I
Yeah.
think that offsets some of those costs. But we get these beautiful
But these
school
con-
newsletters, and we're all, what does this cost? So I know where you're coming from and why you're asking that. So I'd entertain a motion in a second to approve the consent agenda.
So move.
There a second? John, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. This is a roll call action due to the personnel report.
Director Witt. Director Westerkamp.
Aye.
Director Anhalt.
Aye.
Director Laverty.
Aye.
Director Humbles.
Aye.
President Meisterling.
Next, I'm going to turn this over to Val, who's going to introduce Paul, or maybe Dave is.
Paul,
Paul's going to introduce Al. I got it.
Steve.
Thank you. For several years, Al O'Bannon with the Leaders, Believers, and Achievers, or LBA Foundation, has provided services to the district. This past year, we formalized our relationship with Al through an agreement. So in preparation for the agreement going before the board in 2 weeks, Al's here tonight to provide us with some of the outcomes of the program throughout this year and has some guests with him to talk about the program as well. Al?
Good evening, and thank you for allowing us to be here. We really appreciate the partnership that we have with the Cedar Rapids Community School District. It has made a tremendous difference to us in our first year and hope to have it ongoing. Some of the things we do to make sure students are involved is we get involved with the sixth grade orientations when they first come into sixth grade. And then also we spend a whole month in the lunchrooms of each middle school helping them understand. But our biggest attribute is our kids. You know, the kids that have been in the program, we ask them consistently, you know, where are your friends? You know, if you think this is good, the first part of the L in it is leaders. You know, we have to be leaders to be examples to our friends. If we tell them all the time, if you think this is a good thing, your friends will come. Just like when you think it's good to throw a rock, your friends throw a rock. So we try to give them same examples as we go forward. And I'm not sure how to point this at the window. Wrong one? Right one. All right. So this year we had 88 students in our program, as you see here. 67 were middle school students. And each location had at least one person. Each middle school had at least one kid in the program. The least amount of kid came from Harding, which is here today. But most of them are coming from McKinley and the Roosevelt area just because those are our core locations. They are within walking distance for most of those students to come. Our program, as always, involves leadership, healthy lifestyles and nutrition, and academic assistance. We welcome all the parents. As one of our slogans is, we're kids fans, not parent fans. If we get too much in the parent program, we create more and more problems for ourselves, I guess. But one of the things we work on, the most important thing we work on, is their statement of purpose. And without purpose, we don't think they can gain focus, and without focus, we don't think they can become leaders. So they work on this statement of purpose throughout their year, which some of the students will talk to you about today. Participation is voluntary. We don't make them come. We tell them why they should come. Their statement of purpose shows them why they should come. So when they come in and show us what they like to do and what they want to do, and we compare that to some of the things that we can put in place for them to make them successful in the things that they like to do, we build on that all year long. We don't necessarily tell them they're writing an essay today. We tell them to write it down. We correct it. We bring in other people. As a student will speak here, who's one of our tutors, Max Stark, who will speak about, you know, some of the things he's helped with the students on. But we just continue to build on those things because in one sheet of paper, we find that you can build communication skills, you can build writing skills, you can build reading skills, and they like to work on themselves. I mean, what kid or what person doesn't like to work on themselves? And we can consistently are putting that in their heads that this model is about them. So in times when there are some troubles, we have a little scuffle at the drinking fountain or something like that, because we do have those things in our program. We have two things go on. You know, there's some disciplinary action, and there's some challenges. You know, a lot of kids will come and say, I don't want to be here anymore. And I say, are you sure? Well, I just don't want to be in line and do this or do that. And I'll say, okay, well, since you had an altercation at the drinking fountain today, I need 50 push-ups and 20 up-downs. That's a challenge. You know, but we know if they want to be here that they'll do it. 100% of the time that we've had disciplinary actions, they've done exactly what we've asked them to do. And so, we've seen kids join in. We've been called the Coach Carter or whatever you want to say about the movie. So it's really good because they're building, they feel sorry for each other, but they're building that teamwork together. A couple students will talk about that here in a minute. Some of our accomplishments this year, I feel like our accomplishments, where our overall GPA went from 2.4 to 2.67 throughout the year. You can see some of the other numbers, the 18% increase. We really had a challenge with our 8th graders at both locations, and we really put them up to the challenge. I mean, this wasn't about us, this was about them. And so we showed them numbers from last year of what our 8th graders were to accomplish, and I said, you guys got to be able to do better than this. And they took the challenge, and they took it well. They came up about a 0.2% short, but they took the challenge and went up 18%. We talked about graduating and moving on to the next level. If we're real honest with our kids. If you can't make it through 8th grade, we're really going to have some challenges in 9th grade. And so, they took that to heart, and they accomplished a lot in that. Our suspensions and overall referrals, went up a little bit. We've noticed that our attendance, and we're working on this with NTS and Horizon on getting more transportation for our kids in the wintertime. The ones that are within walking distance, is still difficult for them to get there. But with our limited access to transportation, we have to make a lot of route changes and things like that. So we did have some decrease in the winter, but it went right back up in the spring over there. Here, I'm just going to let you read through some feedback from some of our students here, but I'm going to make this short and bring up Max Stark, who is we call him our super tutor. And one reason we have Max is we were working with co-college students, and we had some other volunteers coming in to tutor, but our students were having some difficulty when they're going back into the classroom, understanding how the teacher was teaching. And so we had to figure out how to get them to be transferable, how to get those skills to be teachable. So we went out and got high school students, someone that just came out of the middle school, understood how that was being taught to help the students. And Max Stark has been a great help to us, along with 4 other students that couldn't be here today. So I'll let you talk to Max here now.
Hi, my name is Max Stark. I'm a sophomore at Washington High School. I'm part of the LBA program and a tutor for the middle school students. I really enjoy being a tutor. Most of the time, the students know how to do the work or class. They just aren't motivated to do the work. So I like helping them study and do their homework and showing them that they are capable of doing it.
Thank you, Max. Well, I wish I was one of those high school tutors, but I graduated a long time ago. My name is Sharon Lindo Steele, and I have been a board member for LBA Foundation for a long time, but have been aware of it, involved with it since its inception. And it's a pretty incredible organization, especially when you talk about how that helps our young generation go into the future. And sometimes I think school system kind of falls short on some of the skills that our kids need. And this organization definitely addresses, some of those attributes you need to be successful. So I am actually just going to read 2 letters from some children that have gone through this organization or are still going through it, and how that's affected them. What the first letter is: well, first off, my name is Jalen Harvey, the one and only number 3 LBA's basketball starter. I'm writing about what the LBA program did for me and my other teammates without being on the court. Well, I was born and raised in Chicago, but we moved to Iowa to get away from all the drama and violence. When I came to Roosevelt in 6th grade, I heard about a basketball program called LBA. And ever since 6th grade, I have been in this program. Even though this LBA program helps with basketball, it helps with a lot of things that we need outside of the court. For example, this program has helped with stuff like teamwork, focus, pride, energy, and communication skills. I think the 3 big things that it helped with was our trustworthiness, listening, and responsibility. One big thing that I think the LBA program helped me with was my academics. The LBA is strict about the kids' education, and as much as we love to play basketball, they will not let you on the court without your grades looking good. Well,
I added the word good at the end because it just ended up with looking, so I'm assuming he meant good. And then this is another letter. It's very heartfelt. You can tell he is, this LBA was a good thing for him. And I will not say his name. What LBA has done for me is that they were making sure that I was continuing to be a good believer that is going to graduate in college and be who I want to be. Before I joined LBA, I didn't know what to do. I was going through rough times, thinking about committing suicide because it was so much to handle. And I didn't even tell Al about this because I wanted to focus more on my goals, no matter how hard it gets. My parents doesn't really understand what I'm trying to do, but hopefully someday they will. And when I die, I wanted people to remember me more than just as a person. So, I know. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Demacier Redman, LBA member. Some reasons I came back to LBA because it helped keep a kid like me out of a lot of trouble outside, on the streets and stuff. In sixth grade, I came into school. I never liked going home after school. I always hung out with my friends, and there's never anything good in the streets, and ever. And before I came in LBA, I was just a bad kid. One of those kids who's always late to class, got horrible grades, just horrible. And I always got sent out of class. And this one day, my friend Nishoni came up to me and said, "There's schools bringing this program, LBA." Came doing it. Al told us, we never had to come back, but if we liked it, we come back. And I loved it. And then it just became I loved it, and I would do anything to be in it. And then Al told us about how we needed to get our grades up, we needed to be this, we needed to be that. And I really didn't think he was serious. I didn't take him serious. Then this one day, my grades were still horrible, and I came back, and he said, "You can't be here when your grades are like this." So, it was like a wake-up call for me, and I'm like, I got to get it together. So, I went from getting all F's and C's and getting sent out of class to I can't remember how many, I don't even think I don't remember how many office referrals I got this year, My grades, A's, B's, and C's, really. And I moved up a lot, and I've changed. And all of my friends have done the same thing. Some of them weren't like me at the beginning, but we're all the same now. We're not the type of kids we used to be coming into school. And I've become a leader in everywhere. What it says really means what it is. It helps you become a leader, believer, and achiever everywhere, on and off the court. And I become a leader everywhere, not only to my friends, but just to little sixth graders we see in there, trying to become like us, just trying to be good. And it's fun just to teach them, and then you look at them that used to be me, kind of. and it's crazy, and I like it. I like it a lot, and it's a really, really fun program. Not only does it teach basketball, but he always is on top of what we're doing inside the school and inside the classroom. He's always on top of it. And after that, after 2 years in LBA, I'm where I'm at now. Just graduated 8th grade, and just a great believer in it, leader, believer, and achiever. And that's why I like LBA.
Feel free to adjust that microphone so you don't have to bend down. Yep.
There you go.
My name is PJ Smith, and I'm going to read my LBA paper. First thing that LBA helps me with is my grading academics. LBA has helped me get out of trouble in and outside of school, and it has taught me how to be a leader, believer, and achiever inside and outside of school. It's not all about basketball in the LBA Foundation. They want to know what we want to major in when we get older. They make sure our grades are good, and it's really have been helpful for me. Al motivates me a lot when I miss layups. We do push-ups, and that motivates me to do a lot. a lot better. And when he says we have tournaments coming up, that motivates me to do good in school so I can be able to participate in those things. And it has really motivated me to do a lot of stuff in school and outside of school. And when I first started LBA, I wasn't active at all. And when I started LBA, I became more active every day, and it has helped me lose some weight over the last 2 years. And all the hard work I did those 2 years has helped me in the long run a lot. It has helped me with such things like running up and down the court, keeping my hustle, and has helped me work on my offense and defense. And it also made me want me to do more things in life and more goals in life. When I was not at LBA, my grades were D's and lower, but now since I joined LBA, I'm averaging B's and higher. LBA has really changed me a lot, and I really thank Al for that. And I don't know where I would be or what I would be doing without the LBA Foundation. And I really thank Al for what he has done for our school and all the kids in the LBA Foundation. Thanks.
Thank you.
My name is Naomi Negozubaka, and I'm just gonna read this paper. LBA is a fun program that I hope continues. Before I was in LBA, I always got in trouble, and I didn't care what would happen to me or my grades. And LBA motivates me to always try my best and not give up. And I know what I do can affect the way LBA is looked at. So I always need to think twice about my choices. Well, I don't know. I'm kind of nervous about what to say. It's a stage fright. Yeah. Well, it's really scary being up here. Well,
Hi, I'm Stephanie Nissen. My son is the 6th grader from Harding. You'll have to forgive my pint-sized sidekick. LBA, I think, truly changed my son's life. I remember in elementary school, it was like pulling teeth to get him out the door and to school, and we lived 2 blocks away. Come into 6th grade, and, Mom, come on, I'm going to be late for school. He is ready every day. I used to have trouble with grades and reading and math. And coming into LBA, he all year for his entire 6th grade year brought home A's and B's on his report cards. Every single one. Midterm and end of term report cards. I never brought home a report card like that. He has become an amazing example for his younger siblings, his younger cousins, kids in our neighborhood, kids that he goes to school with. I was actually fortunate enough to, up until I think it was towards the end of April, I got to go to every one of the kids' practices at Roosevelt. These young men right here, I have seen them grow so much. When my son first came in, some of them had already been in the program for a year or more. Took him right under their wing, like he had been there the whole time. He opened up as a person. He would talk to me more. He would talk to his teachers more. Coach Al, whenever Jaden's had any issues, whether it be at home or at school, Jaden has always known that he can always come to his coach and talk to him for anything. Jaden had an injury near the end of April that put him out of basketball, out of all contact sports. He is now able to play again, but the season is over, so I noticed an amazing difference in a bad way when he wasn't able to play ball or go be with his teammates. He almost was like withdrawn and depressed. It broke my heart. When he found out that there was still summer activities that he could do once his doctor gave him the A-OK to go back and be a normal kid again, he was so excited. He brings home great grades. I don't have any trouble with him at home. His attitude is just amazing. And I don't think that he would be like that if it wasn't for Coach Al and these awesome young men over here. And I don't know what we would have done without him. Thanks, Coach Al.
Hi, my name is Jill Shelton, and my son is Sedaris, and he attends Roosevelt. And Sedaris is a hard-headed kid. He gives me a lot of problems. And so when he started 7th grade, I was like, this is going to be something good because he's able to get into some sports, do something, with his time instead of getting into trouble. So when he started at Roosevelt 7th grade, he was able to get on their basketball team. Did excellent, brought his grades up, was more respectable, and was showing his teachers and staff at the Roosevelt more respect. However, as soon as that program came to an end, Sedaris started to fall right back into the same old pattern. Sedaris did tell me there's an LBA program, and I had no idea what that was, but his dad went up there and, found out some information and talked with Coach Al, and we thought that would be a great thing for him to do. However, Sedaris has a younger sister, Nevaeh, who he has to watch, while we're at work, and I was worried that that was going to affect him being with the LBA program. Not at all. She went the first day. She became friends with all his friends. He didn't particularly like that, but he, it now has encouraged Coach Al to let me know that, hey, your daughter can be involved too. And that is wonderful because having 2 kids at home with nothing to do is going to cause, multiple phone calls at my job, and it keeps them out of trouble when they have something positive to do and when they know they have somebody who cares for these kids to open up such a program to keep them off the streets and out of trouble. There's been times where I've drove up to the school and seen fights first thing in the morning, and I'm like, seriously, But I feel like if these kids had something to do with their time and something to keep them in check, that, hey, if your grades are slipping and you're not acting right, you're not going to be a part of this team we have here. And I just think that watching my son develop into, a young man with this group is just phenomenal. I love it, and now that I can get my daughter involved in something, that just makes me even happier. And I have no time taking off time to go to these games and, practices, whatever it may be. So I'm really grateful, and I hope that this continues because it's made a big difference in our lives. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Draven Fuller, and I started with the LBA as one of the first groups to go through it. I'm now 20 years old. I've always grown up and lived in Cedar Rapids. And when I started with the LBA, I was pretty entitled and kind of didn't want to work hard in anything. I kind of had a gift in class and in basketball, but it really taught me how to work hard. And it's not all about what I can do, but what I can do for other people. LBA has opened up a lot of doors for me. I'm now about to be a junior studying sports business management at Maryville University in St. Louis. And I'm in my second summer internship with Toyota Financial. And LBA opened up all those doors for me. So I owe a lot to it, and I think it's just a really good program for now young kids going into middle school to get into, and I've seen it grow, and I like where it's headed. And after college now, I'm going to plan on going to law school to either be a sports agent or something like that. And after that, I plan on being a leader in the LBA. So,
Great.
thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for me?
Do you offer this program during the summer months too, or is it just through the school year and you take a break, or is it throughout the entire year?
This year we are offering a minimal summer activity based on, we hadn't in the past. Most of the activity that we have is for the high school students for our college preps program. So it's more of the college tours and getting them into the honors programs and other things. This year, Max and 4 others will be going into Microsoft Office certification to be certified in Microsoft Office. Well, we don't for the youngers, but one thing that happened and I brought to Paul was, you know, I may not have a choice here. I even talked to Dr. Benson about it because the kids are going, what am I going to do? You know, and I'm like, well, it's my break time. No. But so we're working on some things right now. We have actually some kids are going to go to partner Toyota Financial on Thursday, and they're going to do interviewing tips for not only job interviews but also college interviews. And we're working on some other things with the community to try to at least get them some activity. And then I'll be working with Paul on some building access for the summer. And then next summer, we hope to have a more stabilized program, and we're kind of going to mold that off of kind of what Kids on Course is doing at this time.
Yeah, it's always that building access piece with the cleaning schedules, but we can do some things to help that, and I'm sure Paul will be coordinating that with our custodial maintenance group so that we can have some facilities up and running and available.
I was just going to say, Al, we've known each other for quite a while, so I'm really happy that you've brought us this data, and I think as Mary had said before, in these really tight budget times and getting even tighter, with us as a board really focused on student achievement, you've shown us that your program is working. So it's working in new ways, and you're trying new things, and I just want to commend you for that, and great job, keep it going.
Thank you.
Echo what John just said. Appreciate, we see a lot of programs that are trying to make a difference, and some have been effective, some not, but you've brought some results. Congratulations, very articulate group, the leadership skills, you're showing and demonstrating authentic assessment of success. Do you follow up with do you track the students after they leave high school?
Yeah, Draven's actually first group is the group, we didn't have a contract with you when we started this, but the Draven's group is the first group that we're following, so they're now sophomores in college.
Very good.
And we're recruiting heavily to get them back here to take my job.
Other comments or questions from the board? Were you going to say something?
I was just going to commend the young men who spoke and the young ladies and parents. It's that kind of affirmation that I think we need to see from the community of interest. So I appreciate you being here and all of the adults, your help and support in this program.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Al. And thank all of our guests for coming today and sharing their thoughts. It's very meaningful for us, so thanks for taking the time. Next, I'm going to turn this over to Steve to talk about the amendment to the resolution series bonds.
Real quick, this is just an amendment to a resolution that provides the district the authority to allow regions to be the sinking fund sub-account manager, which is a fancy way of saying we just pay them monthly and then they take care of the principal and interest on the newly funded refund bond for us. So that's what we need today.
Any questions or comments? Can I hear this in the form of a motion? The recommendation?
I move that we accept the recommendation as written.
Second, please. This is a roll call action.
Director Westerkamp.
Aye.
Director Anhalt.
Aye.
Director Laverty,
Aye.
Director Humbles,
Aye.
Director Witt,
Aye.
President Meisterling.
Aye, thank you. Next, I'm going to turn this over to Gary to talk about the IASB legislative platform for 2016. You know I was going to turn it over to you?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I did. Isn't it interesting that that we're talking about the legislative session for 2016, and I don't think, after reading some of the paper today, I don't think we're still completely finished with 2015. The governor said he's still considering the budget and could possibly even bring back legislators to discuss. But anyway, the board members, you have at your place the 2016 IASB legislative priorities. Little homework assignment. I'm not going to spend any time basically with it tonight. What I ask you to do is to go through the programs, and each item is actually they've broken it down to each of our priorities. Go through, and my intent, we will discuss it at our July meeting. But what my intent would be that if there are no real concerns, that we will just mark it as keep the resolution as it is. So what I would like you to do, your homework, is to go through, if there are any that really red flag you have a concern about, that you bring these documents back to July. We will talk about any of the red flags, and if you see a priority or would like to institute a new priority, write a new priority, that you would bring that in writing, and we can discuss it. At that meeting, we will need to look at 4 priorities that we as a board will submit to the state. So, any questions?
Nope.
Okay.
Thank you, Gary. Appreciate that. Next, we're going to go into a closed session following the closing of our meeting to discuss the purchase of real estate, and I'd like someone to please make that motion to do that.
I move that the Board of Education hold a closed session on Monday, June 8th, 2015, to discuss the purchase of particular real estate where premature disclosure could be reasonably expected to increase the price of the school district, which the price the school district could receive for property as provided in Section 21.51J of the Iowa Code.
Second, please.
Second.
Call action.
Yeah, we're going to get there. This is just the motion for the closed session, sorry.
Yeah, we're not moving in there yet. At the conclusion of our meeting, we will move into those 2 meetings. It's okay.
Director Anhalt.
Aye.
Director Laverty. Aye. Director Humbles. Aye. Director Witt. Director Westerkamp.
Aye.
President Meisterling.
Aye. Following that closed session, we will move into an exempt session at the close of this meeting after the retiree recognition. So let's recognize our retirees.
Cedar Rapids Community School District is proud to recognize the career contributions of our retiring employees. The efforts of these teachers, support staff members, and administrators have enriched the lives of thousands of students and have strengthened the district and community. I am pleased to congratulate them on their accomplished careers and to thank them for their dedicated years of service.
Ann Lampy has enjoyed a 24-year career with the district. She has served as the district's mail distribution clerk since 1999 and had previously worked as a food service cashier at Washington High School from 1974 to 1981. We are pleased to thank Ann for all she has done to support students and staff and to wish her well in retirement. Congratulations.
I've enjoyed working with the people in the district and meeting their mailing needs. I'm looking forward to, my daughter-in-law is a kindergarten teacher. I'm looking forward to doing some volunteer work in her classroom, helping with some of the students and watching her teach. And maybe sleeping until 7 or 7:30.
Jerry Nelson devoted his 23-year district career to the students at Metro High School, where he served as a lead teacher. We thank Jerry for his efforts on behalf of the Metro School community, and we congratulate him on his retirement.
The best part of my job is standing up before students and putting on a show, because that's what education to me was about. One of the things that I refuse to let them tell me, I don't know. You couldn't tell Jerry, I don't know. We have to come up with something you know, and then we build on that. The thing I miss most is about the interaction with the parents and the students. And over the years, I've seen them grow, I've seen them prosper. Some of them fell on the wild side, but it's so nice coming back and talking to students who you've seen grow, and parents who come in with this, what kind of program is this? And they come back, oh my God, Jerry, I had no idea this type of program existed. So knowing that I've made a difference the last 23 years, and knowing that I have to continue to make a difference.
Pat Lammers began her career with the district as a paraeducator, serving at Arthur, Erskine, Kenwood, and Wilson schools. She then worked as media secretary and principal secretary at Metro High School before joining the Washington High School staff as the principal secretary. Pat has also shared her talents at Wash as the tech and scenic designer and painter for the theater program. With thanks for her many years of service, we're pleased to congratulate Pat on her retirement.
I said the best part of my job is lunch. And that might sound a little bit funny, but actually there's a lot of truth in that, because I've worked in a lot of places in the district, and I think that finally when I landed at Washington, I was home. And the people that I work with and the people that I've known for years are the people that I have lunch with. And we're all a big family here. Every day, Dr. Plagman has this magic way of making every person that works with him feel like they're the most important person in the progress of the way things happen around here. So I want to find ways to spend time with my kids and my grandkids that all live out of state. I am planning to paint as much as I possibly can to make up for all the years that I was working and couldn't paint the things that I wanted to paint.
Cindy Smith is concluding a 26-year teaching career at Harding Middle School. She has taught 6th grade geography and ancient world cultures, as well as 7th grade American history. She is currently a 6th and 7th grade social studies teacher. Cindy is proud to note that she is a national board certified teacher. Thank you, Cindy, for your dedicated service to students. We wish you all the best in retirement.
I think what I'm going to miss most about my job is the day-to-day camaraderie with the students, and of course my teacher friends and colleagues. That's the most fun part of my day. I like all facets of the job. Primary responsibility is for the kids and to the kids, so that's the part I love the most is, day to day, seeing them grow, seeing them learn. This year I have the awesome opportunity to work with 6th grade and 7th grade. So many of them I had last year as 6th graders, and to see them grow and develop has been pretty neat. As far as retirement goes, that's a great big question mark, truly the unknown. Definitely looking forward to spending time with my husband and family. Hopefully some travels in there. I have a pretty long bucket list, so we'll start chopping along at those things.
Lavera Wood has supported the efforts of the district's purchasing department for 25 years. She currently serves as the Purchasing Specialist, Purchasing Card Administrator. We are very pleased to thank Lavera for her many years of service and to wish her well in retirement. Congratulations!
The best part of my job has been when I've been able to get out into the schools and talking to the teachers, the principals, the secretaries, and the bookkeepers, and finding out that they have quite a sense of humor. I'm really looking forward to getting out into the community once I retire and just seeing what there is to do out there. Working didn't really stop me from taking trips all over to 25 plus countries. But now that I'm retiring, I'm looking forward to spending more time in the United States, traveling frequently also. Just really looking forward to this next chapter in my life and all that it brings.
A lot of talent leaving the district. What a great group of people. We salute them and wish them nothing but the best in retirement. And there being no further business before this board, we stand adjourned.